¿Qué tal, amigos? Muy buenas noches, bienvenidos a Mundo Empresarial. Hoy arrancamos el programa sin mayor espera. Tras la pausa volvemos con novedades aquí en Mundo Empresarial. Bien, amigos, ahora vamos a conversar sobre un proyecto alrededor de la innovación muy importante. Centrum Católica se junta con la Escuela de Negocio de la Johns Hopkins University, el Carey Business School, para conocer un reto, para en realidad afrontar un reto importantísimo de innovación. Ellos tienen un proyecto llamado Project for Humanity, que es un proyecto de, finalmente, de responsabilidad social, que tiene que mucho que potenciarse en nuestro país. Esta alianza de estas dos grandes escuelas de negocio van a afrontar proyectos específicos que aquí en Mundo Empresarial vamos a dar a conocer, entrevistando a James Calvin, director del proyecto desde la Carey Business School de la Johns Hopkins University. James, how are you? Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Bruno. It is a pleasure to be with you again this year.
Yes.
I was very much pleased with the opportunity to talk with you last year as I introduced Innovation for Humanity in Peru.
I remember the project, and this time which are the list of projects?
Well, we have had tremendous opportunity to grow and expand our reach in Lima and actually beyond Lima. Very briefly, I wanted to tell you this year we have 5 Innovation for Humanity project teams.
Okay.
And if I may, we have Red de Energy. We have the Peruvian Cancer Foundation. We have again this year, as last year, Hospital San Juan de Lurigancho. So we continue that very important relationship.
I remember this particular project.
Yes, yes. And this year, the project that Hospital San Juan de Lurigancho has to do with their pharmacy, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. We have a very interesting project with Lederman, the security services firm,
Yes.
And that project has a team working both here in Lima and also in Cusco, and they returned this morning from Cusco and some of their on-the-ground work there. That project is entitled Anacrechi, which focuses on the humanity of the employees.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a project with artisans who are seeking to build deeper relationships internationally, and that project is with Cementos Lima and Association Otocongo.
Yeah. In terms of the experience for your students, coming to Peru could be one of the most important experiences they face during their staying at the MBA school, at the school, business school.
Yes, and I certainly concur with that. Our education model for the Carey Business School MBA is anchored around Innovation for Humanity, doing business with humanity in mind. And so in many business schools that may have an international experience, it's typically the second year that the students go abroad for a project. We begin that in year 1 and actually in their fall semester, so that the fall semester gives them some critical decision-making, problem-solving, and finance skills. And while they're doing that, they also take the course, Innovation for Humanity, which goes over 2 semesters.
Okay.
And so the preparation phase is when they are introduced to their clients. They make contact and begin a very important process in terms of doing a country market analysis and developing a preliminary work plan, so that when we arrive very early in January, and we arrived here late the evening of January 2nd, that initial meeting and face-to-face contact, as the relationship has gotten started, enables the team to have real important time in resetting what the agreement is.
You have teamed up with the best business school in Peru. Which other top schools are partners of Carey Business School in this project in the world?
Thank you. Currently, this second iteration of Innovation for Humanity, in India, we have partnership with ISB, which is the Indian School of Business, which is a leading business school in India. In Rwanda, the leading university there, because we also have Innovation for Humanity there. Last year we were in Kenya, but given uncertainty and some changes there in terms of the dynamic, we did not go to Kenya this year. And then we have also in the United States, for those students whose visas will not allow them to leave and re-enter, they're doing projects out in Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
And so we have other academic partners. We have a similar but much smaller focused project in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. And I knew you were going to ask me the business school, but it's the leading business school in Brazil.
Oh, great.
So,
Well, so you have top partners in the world.
yes, we do.
Well, Johns Hopkins University is an excellent school, very well known for medicine, right? And I can imagine all the benefits for exploiting this opportunity and developing this initiative in the world, contributing to this notion of business with humanity in mind. This is it's a powerful concept. Can you explain from where is the beginning of this?
Yes, thank you. Very much appreciate that question. I'd like to begin by saying, as a internationally known institution of higher learning, Johns Hopkins, I think I'm accurate in saying, when it comes to intellectual property and when it comes to patents, I think still leads the world in both of those areas. Certainly a large number of the patents and a great deal of the intellectual property comes through the medical research, but we also have the Bloomberg School of Public Health, which is the world leader in international public health. And so we have relationships in more than 140 countries, direct relationships with partners through the Bloomberg School of Public Health. And our Applied Physics Lab, which works with NASA, developed the Hubble Space Telescope and its successor. And so there's a lot of original science that finds its way in the lives of people. And so the second part of our academic model for second-year students at the Carey Business School is discovery to market. And the first-year experience is Innovation for Humanity. During the second year, our students are paired up with sponsors and projects that enable them to take their growing skills base and work with entrepreneurs, small businesses, large organizations, and some aspect of how do we take the intellectual property and patents and prepare that knowledge and information to be applied in business.
It's a great point because it is it's very common to have an invention without the business touch, right? So there are a lot of patents, but the commercial way to exploit the opportunity not always is clear for those inventors. They need the specific business touch in order to have success, right?
Yes.
So this is one of the focus of the business school, in Carey Business School.
Yes. And so second year, it adds to the Innovation for Humanity because students then recognize the necessity of working effectively in teams. They work under the direction of faculty, business owners, researchers, because that's how business is done more increasingly around the world. And we'd like to think that the model that we are putting out in the world really is a way to the future because in the end, which is really a new beginning, if business leaders or people who have ideas that can improve outcomes for people, then that's part of where we want to go. And so it's a great learning experience. And you had asked about how this idea got started. My colleagues, Dr. Dipankar Chakravarty, who is the lead faculty for Innovation for Humanity, and then our interim dean, Dr. Phil Fan, as well as the senior faculty and other members of the Innovation for Humanity team, as well as faculty who are engaged in discovery to market. So it's a very robust enterprise. We know that other institutions, our peer institutions, are looking at this model because that's a space that at Johns Hopkins we wanted to be able to capitalize on.
Great to know that, and congratulations for the effort. Congratulations for partnering with Centrum Católica in facing these opportunities in our country. I only can think that this will be an excellent resource over the time. I know that you will repeat the experience over the years, over the coming years. So I'll be glad to receive you in the next year. I know what happened with these 5 projects that currently you are approaching.
Well, thank you, Bruno. I'm delighted again to talk with you further from last year in terms of where we came from last year to where we are now. And I'd like to personally invite you to join us on Friday of this week, where the 5 project teams will present their preliminary findings and recommendations. It's an opportunity for them to have a very intense and focused conversation and presentation. And while they do that, they'll also receive some critical feedback about their findings and recommendations, so that when we return to Baltimore and they're engaged by the larger faculty, that critical inquiry in terms of this reality built around innovation for humanity continues. And allow me, if you will, to say that completing this phase, which is the on-the-ground, on-site phase here in Lima and in Peru, means then that the teams will go back, present to a wider group of faculty, receive that feedback, maintain contact with their sponsors, and produce a final report
for future
implementation, and also stay connected beyond the time of the particular project to see how things do go forward. We recognize that it's important to have relationships,
of course,
and those take time. And so we're pleased with our partner, Centrum Católica, which is very valuable. Relationship goes both ways. And again, I want to thank you for allowing me the time to talk with you this afternoon about our ongoing efforts.
It was my pleasure. Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you, James.
Okay.
James Calvin es director de Innovación for Humanity Project de la Johns Hopkins University, representando a la Carey Business School de esta prestigiosa universidad. Regresamos tras la pausa, señores.